repetition is the mother of learning. That's a nice quote you have most probably heard before that helps people understand that mastery requires work ethic. But will repetition alone really help you reach the elite level in football? Probably not. Now, although this may be true to some extent, I am certain that if you follow that hustle and grind culture, you will reach a dead end at some point in your career. And the reason behind that is that you are just chasing repetitions and numbers. I'm here to tell you that success in this game, but also life in general, goes far beyond the number of touches you can get on the ball in a single session, and that quality repetition is the real mother of learning. That is the reason we, as a brand, are into smart rather than hard work. But let's leave the chit chat out for a bit and weigh out all the pros and cons those repetition-based technical drills have, because let's face it, those drills are just tools. I'm not telling you to completely let go of them. I'm just here to open your eyes up to a variety of solutions so that you can take better training decisions. The first point I would like to touch upon is that whenever quantity is prioritized, quality usually has to suffer. You see, repetitive technical drills many times sacrifice the quality of your actions because you're chasing the reps, not the quality behind those reps. And as you may already know from our previous videos, your brain stores movement information in the form of motor engrams. Your neuromuscular system doesn't know what movement is right and wrong. The movements you quote-unquote feed it with are the movements that get stored and used in the future. So more reps can equal a faster development process. And what's the problem with that, you may want to ask? The real issue here has to do with low quality repetition. If you keep repeating the same technical mistakes over and over again, that false technical movement pattern will become the new movement ingrained in your neuromuscular system. And unfortunately, the possibility of repeating even slight technical errors during a repetition-focused drill is pretty big if you consider the large volume of repetitions. In other words, the quality of your touches is equally, if not more, important for your development than the number of touches you perform on the ball in a single session. More is not always better and can even harm your development than do good. Now, the other reason I'm not a big fan of repetitive technical drills taking up the whole duration of the session is because they are limiting your creativity and exposure to a wide range of game stimuli, such as pressure of time, space, and opponents. You see, this game that you're playing is unpredictable and chaotic in nature. Whenever you're performing those repetitive drills, you get better at that exact robotic and predetermined motor pattern. Technique might be present, but skill is definitely not there. You see, both you and Tony Cross might be able to pass the ball from point A to point B with sufficient technique, but it is skill that enables Cross to make those line-breaking passes at the highest level while you're struggling to do that at a lower level. And that leads me to the next point I wanted to touch upon, which is one of the greatest mistakes I see many coaches making in the technical training field. And that is that they are not preparing players for the most important skill needed in football: problem solving. Problem solving is a complex skill that goes well beyond technique and also involves other parameters such as space, time, pressure, and tactical intelligence. Instead of putting yourself entirely through repetitive drills, try creating drills that are more specific to your needs and the game situations you get into the most. Start using cognitive training methods and technologies, use space and time limitations, and get yourself into game-like scenarios as often as possible. Those training stimuli can quite literally 10x the results you get from the time and energy you invest into your training, and I simply cannot understand why you're ditching them. And of course, the other reason we don't stuff our entire technical training sessions with repetitive drills is that we want to minimize the risk of an overuse injury. Repetitive actions like passing or dribbling the ball thousands of times per session in a single pattern can drastically increase the risk for an overuse injury. And the last thing we want is to get you injured and demolish your availability in game time. Now, there are of course some instances where repetitive drills can and probably should be used. For example, I think this type of training can be really beneficial for grassroots players that are rehabbing from an injury, or in the early stages of a training cycle. In all cases though, fundamental technical elements should be established first in a slow tempo and controlled environment. Then, repetitive drills can be used to ingrain those right movement patterns in your technique or build back that resilience and get a feel for the ball. Now, in regards to the latter, repetitive drills can also be used at the start of a session or the day before a game to boost the player's confidence levels and sharpen up their touches. So guys, am I saying that you should completely avoid this type of technical training and that you won't get better using them? No, not at all. I'm just suggesting that there are smarter ways to structure your work and get a higher return on the energy and time you invest in your training. This does not mean you can't or shouldn't use repetitive drills in your training. Every exercise and method is just a tool. If you know the principles, aka how to use those tools, then you can use them effectively. Having said that, go watch this video next if you really want to improve your technical skill level or check out the description for some additional resources.